Welcome to MrKhanMaths, and in this video, we will be looking at how to solve two-step equations involving negatives. This is lesson 2 on how to solve two-step equations, and in this video, I will be going through 2 examples. Before I begin, I want to share with you the steps to success I will be using to find the solutions. The aim in solving these equations is to firstly use the inverse operation to isolate your variable, and then to balance the equation out by doing whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. Prior knowledge on being able to multiply and divide negative numbers is also essential in order to solve equations similar to my examples. So let's look at example 1. We have negative 3x plus 15, which is equal to 54. So what does this mean? It means whatever the value of x is, when it's multiplied by negative 3 and 15 is added to it, the answer will be 54. The way to answer these sort of equations is by leaving the variable untouched until the very end. So to use my steps to success and to solve this equation, I need to isolate my variable, which is x. So I'm firstly going to get rid of what is next to my variable before getting rid of what is attached to it. Now in this case, I have a positive 15 next to my variable, which I need to get rid of. To do this, I'm going to do the inverse of adding 15, which is to subtract 15. So essentially, what this does is it cancels the 15s out so that I get my negative 3x on its own. But in order to balance out the equation, you must remember, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So I will also subtract 15 from 54. Now what I am left with is negative 3x, which has been untouched, is equal to 54 minus 15, which is 39. And that's the first step done. Now what you see is my variable with an attachment. So I need to isolate my x from negative 3x. And how do I do this? Again, using the same steps to success, I will use the inverse operation. So negative 3x means x multiplied by negative 3. So the inverse of this would be to divide by negative 3. So once again, to balance out the equation, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I will also divide 39 by negative 3. So minus 3x divided by 3 is x, and 39 divided by minus 3 is minus 13. So from my working, x is equal to minus 13. Now we can actually check if our answer is correct by substituting my answer for the variable we worked out and to see for ourselves if the answer is correct. So minus 3 multiplied by x, which is minus 13, plus 15 should equal to 54. And let's see if it does. Minus 13 multiplied by minus 3. So what we have here is two negatives being multiplied together. And we know from the rules of working with negatives, when we multiply two negatives, it gives us a positive answer. So effectively, what we are doing is 13 times 3, which is 39. And if I add 15 to it, it does in fact give me 54. And there you have it. By substitution, you have checked your own answer for the variable to see if it is correct. And in this case, we have the correct value for our variable. And that's example 1 complete. X is equal to minus 13. Moving on to example 2, we have minus 5 is equal to x over 3 minus 14. Again, ask yourself, what does this actually mean? It means whatever the value of my variable x is, when it's divided by 3 and 14 is subtracted from it, my answer will be minus 5. So again, using my steps to success, I want to isolate my variable to get its value. So I'm firstly going to get rid of what is next to my variable before getting rid of what is attached to it. Now, in this case, I have a minus 14 next to my variable, which I need to get rid of. To do this, I'm going to do the inverse of subtracting 14, which is to add 14. So essentially what this does is it cancels out the 14s, so that I get my x over 3 on its own. But in order to balance out the equation, you must remember, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So I will also add 14 to minus 5. Now what I am left with is minus 5 plus 14, which is 9, and that is equal to x over 3. And that's the first step done. Now what you see is my variable with an attachment. So I need to isolate my x from x over 3. And how do I do this? Again, using the same steps to success, I will use the inverse operation. So x over 3 means x divided by 3. So the inverse of this would be to multiply this by 3. So once again, to balance out the equation, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I will also multiply 9 by 3. So 9 times 3 is equal to 27, which is then equal to x over 3 multiplied by 3, which leaves x on its own. So from my working, x is equal to 27. Again, we can do our check using substitution to see if our answer for the variable is correct. So 27 divided by 3 subtract 14 should equal to minus 5. And let's see if it does. 27 divided by 3 is 9. Subtract 14 does in fact give me minus 5. And there you have it. By using substitution, you have checked your own answer to see if it is correct. And in this case, we have the correct value for our variable. And that's example 2 complete. X is equal to 27. Now that you have seen my worked examples, I would like you to apply the knowledge I have shared by attempting Mr. Khan's skills check questions. Here are Mr. Khan's skills check questions. So please press pause and have a go at the questions on your screen. Once you have completed the questions, press play to mark your answers. Here are the answers to Mr. Khan's skills check questions. See how you have got on by marking the questions you have done. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye for now and see you again soon.